If you ask me, muscle figures are the greatest toys ever made. And if you disagree with that, I'm gonna punch you right in the throat. Proverbially, with this video highlighting the rarest muscle figures of all. What's up, internet? Every Single Muscle here, and you're in for a treat because it's time for part 6 of our Every Single Muscle compilation countdown, parts 1 through 5, linked in the show notes below. And this is a special one because although we've technically finished up discussing every single official muscle, there are a few anomalies out there, figures released in exceptionally limited quantities that are known as the super rares. Today, I'm going to give you the down low on all of those and a few extras just for funsies. Enough of the intro, let's skip to it. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and this time we're talking about the first of the super rares, Spinning Head Ashuraman. But what are super rares? Here's a quick recap. While it's generally accepted that there are only 236 figures in the Muscle toy line, the Japanese line that the Muscle were based upon, Kinkeshi, has over 400 sculpts. And mysteriously, some of those additional figure sculpts have popped up in Muscle form in extremely limited quantities, hence super rare. So, Spinning Head Ashuraman here is the first of the super rares to crash land in the Muscle collecting community. Ashuraman showed up several times throughout the main line, but the unique aspect of Spinning Head Ashuraman is his removable, rotatable head. The head, of course, is definitely something that's easy to lose or choke on, which is probably part of the reason this Ashuraman didn't make the cut into the main series of figures. It's unknown exactly how many exist, but there are a handful of heavy hitter muscle collectors out there who have this guy. Unfortunately, I am not one of them. We're back with more Every Single Muscle, and this time we're talking about the next of the super rares, Black Hole Sunshine, a pretty charismatic, dynamic Sunshine figure. And while all the Sunshines in the main set are pretty great, this guy's distinguishing feature is the black hole in his chest. Literally a hole punched out through his chest, and there's a little peg attached that you can use to plug it up. Of course, being a super rare, these guys are exceptionally hard to come by. Only a handful are known to exist. So if you magically come across one for anything less than several $100s, I suggest you pick it up. Again, I'm only talking about the muscle version. If it's a rubbery kinkeshi figure, those aren't nearly as rare. Every Single Muscle returns, and today we're talking about the super rare figure known commonly as Drunken Master. And while I don't own him in muscle form, I do have this sculpt represented in my collection as a kinkeshi. Here he is, an adorable little bald mustachioed fellow with a walking stick. And if you're wondering why he's called Drunken Master, it's because the collector who named him noticed this, that he balances perfectly upside down on top of his head. Of course, in the Kinnikuman manga and anime, he's not named Drunken Master. He's Horoman Yaki, the father of Kinnikuman's future wife, Bibimbap, and he's named after a Japanese dish made primarily of beef and pork-based organ meats. Yum. Now you may be asking, how rare is this super rare? Well, there are only 2 that are actually known to exist. So like with many super rares, some people think they aren't muscle at all, but I'll tell you from an expert eye, they definitely look legit. Time for more Every Single Muscle, and today we're digging deep on the super rare muscle known as Dark Emperor or Black Emperor. One thing's for sure, the Emperor here has a truly great figure sculpt, and thankfully I have a kinkeshi version in my collection so I can show it off a bit. Some really fine details, including the big gaping hole in his stomach and his back, and these strange, almost axe-like appendages on top of his head. He's a good one for sure. Now, Dark Emperor is kind of the go-to name for collectors, but the fan translation of Kinnikuman anime movie number 2, his sole appearance in the lore, refers to him as Black Emperor. Whatever you want to call him, he's the leader of the Black Army, a group of one-off monsters, many of which have made their way into muscle form. Now, of course, like all super rares, this guy is exceptionally scarce in the marketplace. Only 4 are even known to exist, so no, you're not going to get one anytime soon. We're back with more Every Single Muscle, and this time we're talking about a super faction of super rares, the Magnificent 11. But before we highlight them all, here's a little history lesson. Back in 2006, the proprietor of the Little Rubber Guys board, which was the hangout for all muscle collectors on the internet back in the day, made perhaps the single most significant muscle discovery ever, an eBay auction for a pink-colored 28-pack, which included 11 figures that were previously thought to be non-muscle sculpts. This included 3 new versions of Satan Cross, and new versions of Ramen Man, Wars Man, Terry Man, Robin Mask, and Buffalo Man. It also included new characters like Prison Man, the mysterious partner, and the first and only Brocken Jr. in muscle form. And while I don't own them as super rare muscles, I do own 9 out of 11 of them in kinkeshi form, and I gotta say, these are some of the best sculpts in the entire series of Kinnikuman figures. Just some amazing work, and I think this Buffalo Man is probably my favorite of all. Every single muscle is back, and this time we're talking the super rare muscle figure known as Dr. Bombay. Living up to his super rare status, only a handful of this guy are known to exist. In the anime and manga, Dr. Bombay specialized in healing Chojin superheroes. He was the creator of Ramen Man's Mongol Man mask and performed surgery to repair Kinnikuman's injured arm. It was long speculated that the inspiration for Dr. B was this character, Hang Killer, who of course was immortalized in muscle form. Later on, the Chojin Encyclopedia gave credence to this rumor by stating that Hang Killer was the ring name of Dr. Bombay in his younger days. And while the super rare muscle sculpt is pretty spectacular, unfortunately I don't own one, not even in kinkeshi form, but I do have this other Dr. Bombay, who's pretty great if you ask me.
Muscle Invasion Update. Scientists discover muscle things have come to wrestle. America's only hope, the battle and belt, and the wrestling ring.
He moves left. He's hooked one. Into the battle and belt it goes. He's got another. Folks, this wrestling ring may save the world. One more to go. He's got him. His battle and belt is full. Hard knocking, rockin' ring, battle and belt, muscle figure packs each sold separately. New from Mattel. Can you save the world?
Hey guys, real quick, when you get a chance, it'd really mean a lot if you can hit like, hit subscribe, maybe leave a comment below. All that stuff goes a long way, so I'd really appreciate it. It's the return of every single muscle, and today we're discussing a quartet of super rare muscles in color. The first of those is the Red Shouting Geronimo. Originally discovered by a somewhat infamous member of the muscle collecting community, Red Geronimo was first found in an eBay auction and later verified to be made of that familiar firm muscle material. I of course don't own it, but I do have this kinkeshi version. Just a short while later, 3 more colored super rares were discovered in an auction from Yahoo Japan. They include M.U.S.C.L.E, Woolman, and a familiar Robin mask sculpt, which was also a part of the Magnificent 11 in the original muscle pink color. Now all 4 of the colored super rares are exceptionally, well, rare. Only one of each is actually known to exist. Every single muscle clinks on with the super rare figure known as Mindpuzzleman, or Chiinawa Man, or Chain Man, or Puzzle Ring Man. Whatever you call him, he's a great figure and an extremely rare one. As with many of the super rares, this guy was originally discovered in an eBay lot, and to my knowledge, only that one Mindpuzzleman is known to actually exist in muscle form. He is, however, a pretty common and popular kinkeshi sculpt that thankfully I have as part of my collection in this green color right here. Just another great one. He's got so much character and charm, and he's truly unique among his rubbery brethren. If it's not clear, Mindpuzzleman is modeled after those handheld puzzle games that involve disentangling rings and pulling them apart from each other. In the anime and manga, he appears during one of the Chojin Olympics arcs and manages to survive the pre-tournament trials before having to go face-to-face with his equally puzzly nemesis, Cube Man. Cube Man, however, solves the ring puzzle and is declared the winner. Oh, and hey, I also own this Deca Kinkeshi version of him, so that's fun. We're back with more Every Single Muscle, and today we're talking the long discredited super rare muscle commonly referred to as X2. In the early days of online muscle sleuthing, while these super rares were even more of a rarity than they are today, one collector discovered this unusual figure, which even included the YSNT markings on his back. This futuristic goalie was quickly dubbed with the nickname X2, and many were led to believe this was in fact a super rare muscle. But as time marched on, it was soon discovered that not only was this not a muscle, it wasn't technically part of the original kinkeshi lineup in Japan either. Instead, it was from the Ramen Man spin-off series Tatake Ramen Man, and his real name was Flame Lu. And so X2's days in the spotlight quickly withered, though because of this complicated history, muscle collectors today still consider this guy a pretty desirable addition to their collections. All that said, I don't actually own one, but I do have a few other dudes from the Ramen Man line that I picked up on my last trip to Japan, and they're pretty damn awesome too. Every Single Muscle never stops! Today we're talking the mysterious, lost, unconfirmed super rare muscle, Robin Knight. By 2007, several super rares had been discovered, but in July of that year, a member of the Little Rubber Guys board, Bellatrix 101, made a shocking discovery: a Craigslist auction for a pile of seemingly normal muscles that also included this guy. And from the looks of him, he's the exact same color and material as all the muscles around him. But the answers would remain out of reach because Bellatrix's offer of $800 was rejected, and the sale went to a private, undisclosed buyer, leaving this figure's status as an actual muscle super rare a mystery. Now let's talk about the figure itself for a moment. This is Robin Knight, the father of Robin Mask. You could tell because he's got a little mustache there. And obviously I don't own the super rare muscle that nobody can verify exists, but I do have this green kinkeshi version that I bought in Japan, and it's undeniably awesome. But what's the moral of this story? The super rares that we actually know of exist in extremely limited quantities and are basically anomalies. Combine that with this guy's mysterious appearance, and it's safe to say that nobody knows for sure that there aren't more super rares out there to discover. Whether you want it or not, it's time for another Every Single Muscle, and today we're talking about this spooky little guy, Poltergeist. Not actually a muscle at all. This one here's a kinkeshi, the Japanese toy line that M.U.S.C.L.E were based on. But the reason we're talking about him is in the late 80s through into the 90s, it wasn't uncommon to find bootleg M.U.S.C.L.E figures in vending machines across the US, Canada, and around the globe. Most of the time, they were recognizable muscle sculpts, but sometimes this guy would pop up, a figure that wasn't even properly released by Mattel. And so in spite of that, versions of this figure popped up in M.U.S.C.L.E fans' toy collections all around the world. And I gotta say, he's a pretty charming, spooky little dude, almost a traditional Halloween ghost outfit. He's this sheet, a couple eye holes. He's got more of a cape with a rope tied around it, but it still exudes the same vibes. Poltergeist barely pops up in the Kinnikuman anime and manga, but he's in the encyclopedia all the same. Like I already said, this is a kinkeshi version of him, but this one over here is a real proper bootleg, and this teeny tiny little fella is a squishy version of him. Ooh, spoopy. It's time for more Every Single Muscle, and today we're shining a light on this little dude, Tail Lamp, colloquially known as Light Bulb Guy. Now again, this isn't a muscle, it's one of the non-muscle sculpts from Japan that mysteriously made its way around the world as a bootleg in vending machines and party favors, kind of like Poltergeist, who we discussed not too long ago. There was even a brief moment when early online muscle collectors speculated he might be a super rare, but that was quickly debunked. Regardless, because of his bootleg status, he made his way into several collections of little rubber dudes worldwide. Now let's take a brief look at the character. Tail Lamp's been around since the 80s, though he was perennially underdeveloped until a story in one of the novellas that almost nobody in the English-speaking world has ever read. Now let's take one last look at this luminous little guy. So yeah, I think I can say unequivocally that I'm extremely jealous of anybody out there who actually owns some of these super rares. And if you've got a favorite super rare, leave a comment below and let me know. All that said, that wraps up our Every Single Muscle countdown. It's been a wild ride, but it's never over because I'm still doing toy hunts. I'm still deep diving on deep cut, long forgotten toy lines. I'm still in the middle of every single battle beast, but my heart will always lie with every single muscle.